Just a few months ago, an age-old debate within aviation circles was brought to the forefront of discussion once again. Air India Flight 171 crashed shortly after takeoff. Both engines flamed out just seconds into the flight. Investigators quickly recovered the black boxes, the flight data recorder and cockpit voice recorder. But despite hours of audio and plenty of technical data, one mystery remains. Who pulled the fuel shutoff switches? And more importantly, why? Today, we're diving into one of commercial aviation's most persistent questions. Why don't airliners have cockpit video recorders? Before we answer this pressing question, please consider subscribing and hitting the like button down below. To understand why the topic of cockpit video recorders is so controversial, we need to understand the history of the concept of such recorders. The idea of a crash survivable recorder was born out of necessity in the 1950s. Australia's David Warren invented what we now call the black box, although it's actually bright orange, after a series of mysterious air crashes. By the 1960s, flight data and cockpit voice recorders became standard. They revolutionized accident investigations. With them, we could finally hear the pilot's last words and see what systems were doing in the final minutes of flight. But the limitations were always there. Cockpit voice recorders, or CVRs, only capture audio, usually to last 2 hours. There's no video, no facial expressions, no body language. No way to know visually what was doing and who was doing what in the cockpit. And in many cases, that missing piece has left critical questions unanswered. After major incidents like Egypt Air Flight 990 in 1999, calls for cockpit video recorders surged. The NTSB has advocated for them for over 2 decades. And in 2023, a helicopter crash in Australia showed just how useful cockpit footage can be. A simple look at the camera confirmed essential details of the case. Case closed, quickly and cleanly. And then came Flight 171. Once again, video could have provided clarity. Who moved those switches? This is a question that seems could be easily answered by a video recorder. And in the case of sabotage, for example, maybe even a deterrent against foul play. And so the question returns. If video helps save lives in cars and trains and even in helicopters, why not in commercial jets? While on face value, the issue seems black and white, there is obviously a reason that this innovation has never occurred thus far. And the reason has to do, unsurprisingly, with unions. For many pilot unions, the idea of cockpit video recorders is not just about technology. There is also a concern regarding personal privacy. They argue that cameras would invade pilot privacy. That footage could be misused or, worse, leaked. Pilots worry about being scrutinized for every glance, every gesture, even in life or death moments where quick judgment, not perfect posture, is what counts. And there's another fear, that airlines might start using cockpit video as a monitoring tool to audit performance, to discipline crews, to quietly reshape aviation culture. However, in my mind, this could easily be avoided with strict regulations only allowing access to video recorders during accident investigations. And if those concerns are valid, there would already be issues with voice recorders, for example. However, voice recorders seem to be crucial in many investigations. An evolution to video seems to be in the best interest of the flying public. even if it compromises the privacy of the pilots slightly. However, regulators have largely sided with caution. In the US, the FAA has not mandated video recorders, perhaps wanting to avoid radical action by the pilot unions. Some propose limited use cockpit video, recording only during critical phases of flight or emergencies. Others suggest focusing only on instrument panels and control inputs, leaving faces and bodies out of frame. However, these ideas seem just aimed at appeasing the will of unions and not necessarily aimed at providing investigators with more tools. In fact, they all seem somewhat like handicaps. New systems could encrypt and store footage with automatic deletion after a set time unless an incident occurs. Regardless, I would say video isn't about catching pilots making mistakes. It's about giving investigators more tools to understand what went wrong and how to prevent it from happening again. With over 100,000 flights safely operated each day, airline pilots are among the most trusted professionals in the world. But when rare tragedies do happen, it seems worth it to have every piece of the puzzle. So, will cockpit video recorders become the new standard? For now, the debate continues. Safety advocates see them as a long overdue evolution, and pilots and unions raise concerns about surveillance, misuse, and culture. But the crash of Flight 171 has reignited the conversation, that's for sure. And if technology, policy, and trust can meet somewhere in the middle, the next generation of black boxes might finally include what so many have called for: a clear view of what happened. With that, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you in the next video.